sometimes when we read Shakespeare, it's a little confusing, don't you think? Now, on the one hand, things get confusing because he uses words that are unfamiliar to us. Perhaps you're not familiar with the word flight. Shakespeare might use it, but in those cases, it's easy enough to look up the word in the dictionary, to check your footnotes, and you're right back on track. The more complicated part of Shakespeare has to do with the fact that he often puts words and phrases and clauses in unusual places. And sometimes that's for emphasis, and sometimes that's to work with the meter he's trying to perfect, or that he's trying to alter. Quite often he's writing in iambic pentameter, but then he also breaks the iambic pentameter for effect. So in this case, Duncan sees a man who's covered in blood, okay? And he wants to know who that man is, but he also wants to know how the battle's going. And what man better to tell of the state of the battle than a man who's been in the battle? And how do you know that somebody's been in the battle? They're covered in blood. So when he says over here, he can report, as seemeth by his flight, of the revolt the newest state, Shakespeare's putting some words in an unusual place. For example, most of us would not put these three words here. Take a quick look at where you might put them. And while you're thinking about it, I'm going to delete some words to make it a little bit simpler. So what do you think? Where would you put the newest state? I would make the case that the best place is over here. He, that bloody man, can report the newest state of the revolt. Why? Because he's bloody, right? Because of his plight. Now, all of a sudden, a word that we thought we didn't really need before makes a little bit more sense to us, okay? Sometimes Shakespeare is going to be redundant, and he's going to clarify things by repeating them in different ways. But if you consider perhaps moving a word or a clause, or in this case a phrase, to a new place, that's probably going to clarify the sentence for you. Give it a shot.